If you like audiobooks or audio shows, check out a free trial of Audible. Just click the link in the description.
Welcome to Mindshock True Crime. You are listening to the Maura Murray series. This is episode 46, The New Narrative. And we will be examining new information that has come out, old standing theories, narrative steerers, and just various insanity that is always seems to hover around the Maura Murray case, unlike other cases. I am your host, Bruce McGuire.
And Maxwell Powers.
And as always, if you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you allow your device to let those notifications come through. If you like the podcast, you could also hit the like button and share it across social media platforms. You can check us out on Twitter, Reddit, Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic requests as well as podcasters. And make sure to like and follow our Facebook page for exclusive updates. We will be having a poll on questions to ask the one, the only Maxwell Powers, the man, the myth, the legend. So if you have any questions for Maxwell and his unique nature, we will be doing a Q&A with Maxwell Powers focused only on listener questions. All right, Maxwell, Maura Murray case. Have you listened to the Julie Murray interviews on She's been on podcast coming up to the anniversary now. This is February 9th. It'll be 16 years, Maxwell. 16 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I listened to, I put it on and then I started doing other things and then kind of just faded in the background. So I got to listen to that again. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, Julie Murray was on True Crime Garage. She was also on Missing Maura Murray. Nothing really shocking, but a couple of tidbits that do need to be gone over. Once again, we have to be exhaustive in covering everything on Mindshock because the truth is unknown. So how would you know what's the truth or not if you don't know the truth? Obviously, many, many narrative steerers out there and controlled social media platforms like the official Maura Murray Reddit or Maura Murray, where they shut down conversation, logical conversation, exploring certain avenues that they don't want to be explored under various guises of being impolite or whatnot, as many people are perfectly polite in stating their opinions there, and they still get banned because they ask questions that the narrative steerers don't want asked. Julie Murray has clarified a few things. And so let's go over them on the True Crime Garage interview. She said that regarding Billy Rausch, she said that Billy Rausch and his father were instructed by Fred Murray to travel to Maine and all these other places to check gas stations, all these other things. So this was under Fred's instruction because Fred himself couldn't do that because he was close to, he was very busy on everything close to the alleged accident scene and everything that was going on there. So we have so many narratives being spun here because there's no mention of Bob McDonald. Once again, the McDonald's who came, the West Point professors who just randomly immediately came out for a DUI walkaway and started interviewing neighbors and all these things. Very, very bizarre. We'll actually be doing a dedicated episode on the McDonald's because so many things don't add up there, but I don't want to go into too many of that here. Just to say that there's no mention of Bob McDonald, who was Billy Rausch's alibi. Bob McDonald told Renner that he was with Billy Rausch, and he never mentioned Bill Sr. So Julie Murray is not mentioned. Now, maybe they just forgot to mention. I don't know. It's just really curious because I guess it's possible that they were all being forgetful, but it's not like they were traveling by the dozens and dozens of people because if it was just Bill Rausch and Bob McDonald or his parents and the McDonald's, would they all forget to mention each other? Any thoughts on that, Maxwell?
Like you said, they could have just forgotten or something else, but the something else is curious, so I don't know.
Yes. So, okay, let's go over a couple other things. So, apparently, the other thing that Julie Murray had said is that Julie Murray herself was a character witness at Maura Murray's West Point trial, aka honor hearing for honor violations. And this was regarding Maura Murray's alleged theft at the Fort Knox commissionary store. Do you remember this, Maxwell? Does this ring a bell?
Say that again.
Max Alarmy. Okay, so do you recall that Maura Murray left West Point, and the rumor was that she had stolen makeup, like
Oh
$4 or $5
yeah.
worth of
I
makeup.
remember that. I
Okay,
remember
so
that.
Julie Murray, I believe this is the first time she has clarified this. Julie Murray said that she herself was a character witness at Maura Murray's honor hearing at West Point regarding the Fort Knox issue.
Yeah, I heard that part. Yeah.
Because I've theorized that theft either didn't happen because we had no proof of it, or that it was something we don't know about, either a dare, who knows. And because before that, it was only a rumor by some allegedly a former roommate of Maura's at West Point. But now Julie Murray is saying that Maura Murray did indeed take about $4 worth of makeup from the commissionary store at Fort Knox. So her other thoughts were she was very confused because Maura had the money. So they weren't dead broke to the point where she couldn't afford a few dollars worth of makeup. So Julie theorized that Maura simply forgot because she got distracted. Is that hard for you to believe, Maxwell?
Eh, it could be that. Like, I don't know. Like if she's looking for something else and she put it in her pocket so she can have both hands and then forgot about it. That's possible. And it's also she mentioned this too, or actually the interviewer said too. Like, maybe Maura took it because it's so insignificant, money wise, that people might just forgive her or something. Like it's $3 or $4 or whatever, and there's no real like big loss. It's not like a two. It's not like a $200 or $300 item or something.
Well, apparently Maura did not have a history of doing that. So, do you? I mean, it's possible. I guess if she was mentally agitated about something, right? That if she was, who knows, or or something happened.
It's also I'm theorizing about this. Like even before this time, wasn't she? She was dissatisfied with the whole situation with West Point,
Well,
and
before,
like
hold on,
steal.
hold
And wait,
on.
hold on, and stealing the item was unconscious to get in trouble, so she can be out of
Unconscious,
that place. Like
unconscious.
unconscious. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, I'm just clarifying your position. So it wasn't intentional per se. It was almost, so you're saying her subconscious was guiding her physical actions?
Yeah, her subconscious was putting herself in trouble because like she couldn't leave consciously.
Very interesting. But why couldn't she leave consciously though? She could have, because that's what she ended up doing. But before we get to that, there's a reason,
Because maybe I don't know.
Maxwell. There's a reason I didn't want to get to that point yet. I want to finish.
Oh, okay.
I want to
All right, do
finish.
your thing.
I want to finish with taking the makeup. So if these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, because that's what they are. If they're fooling around in the commission, now I don't know West Point cadets. Maybe they're not like other 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Maybe they don't joke around. I would guess that kids are kids and they do. If she was planning on buying the makeup and then someone was joking around and she got distracted and then she forgot that she had it, right? Is that a possibility? Because
Yep.
especially if that's never happened before. I don't know. That's a scenario that came in my mind. Like if
Yeah,
people were joking.
that's what I'm thinking about. Like yeah, that's pretty much this.
If
It's pretty much the
well,
same thing as like
if everything
what I
was
said.
calm, and she was alone, which we don't know, we really don't know the logistics of that. I mean, I'm sure that they should have a security footage of that, right? So
I actually have like I had that how should I not not temptation, but I was at the store and I had, like I was kind of like looking around and I had a lot of things and I was gonna I actually wanted to I wanted to put it in my pocket because like I was going into the theater and I don't feel like buying theater goods because they didn't have that thing. So like I put it in my pocket to see if it would show because they don't allow goods in the snacks into the theater.
yeah,
So I kind of like put it in my pocket. And then I made like I was like, oh wait, I can't do that because I might forget. And you know me,
yeah.
so I took it out of my pocket.
Well, you know
And
what's funny though? I'm actually shocked that you remember that you're forgetful. Like the fact that it occurred to you that you would forget it in your pocket. But that's an interest. Yeah.
wait, I always do that. I always say like, oh man, I'm gonna forget. Like I always, tell other people, yo, don't, make sure you remind me.
You don't really do
because
that
I
on the
forget.
podcast, but
What do you
all
mean?
right. Anyway, okay, irrelevant. So there should be a video. I'm thinking Fort Knox, one of the most secure areas on Earth. I'm thinking they should have security footage so you'd be able to tell whether or not there were other kids around, whether there was joking or horseplay of some kind where she got distracted, or if she really was alone. Like if she picked up the makeup, looked around so no one would see it, put her in her pocket, and then walked off, because then you could tell what was going on, right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
you'd
yeah.
also be able to tell if she put it in her pocket because she needed her hands free and she was.
Wait. What are you saying? Like there is a video or there isn't?
What do you think? It's Fort Knox. I'm thinking a video should exist. No video
Oh
has been put forth.
yeah. Why didn't they bring that up? That's
I don't
messed
know.
up.
I guess because most people probably say it's not relevant to her disappearance, but again, we don't know because again, one of the gigantic stacks of coincidences is that Thursday night during the emotional breakdown at the security desk. Apparently, that's when there was an investigation, a military investigation became public into sexual abuse in the military in general, not just at West Point. So we don't know what took this. What we don't know what happened. Because if Maura was in a stressful situation, we really don't know. Because if she was also in a stressful situation, she might be trying to get kicked out, not just her subconscious, but consciously. She might be trying to figure out ways to get kicked out, and she didn't want to do something really bad, like taking $4 worth of makeup. That's not exactly the worst crime in the history of the world. So I don't know. I mean, again, unknown. But that's just something interesting that Julie Murray said. So she verified this. She also said she was a character witness at Maura's Fort Knox theft honor hearing. Okay, so after 2 years at West Point, the cadets must sign an oath for 5-year service. So this is where Maura voluntarily decided not to. So she wasn't necessarily kicked out. All cadets have the option after 2 years to decide if this is what they want to do or not. So, I mean, Maura is not the only cadet that does not sign on for 5 years of service. I don't know what the percentages are, but whatever the percentage, there's that number of cadets do not sign, and Maura was one of those because she voluntarily decided not to. However, Julie Murray also said this: her grades were dropping, and she was missing classes and missing track practices. Okay, you following, Maxwell?
Actually,
So
I missed the last part. So she's missing practices. You said.
that was the last part. Her grades were dropping. She was missing classes and also missing track team practices.
Damn.
So what is going on with Maura? Is it simply that she didn't want the military life, or is something weird going on either with Billy Roush or other people at West Point? We don't know. Okay, so these are questions because if she wanted to get away from Billy Roush early on, did she sabotage herself on purpose? Either a combination of subconscious and conscious decisions to get out of West Point. Any thoughts on that, Maxwell? This is what
I
you
would
were
say.
talking about earlier, so now's the time.
Yeah. No. Just no. I thought you. I mean, I made the point, so you're kind of like elaborating on it.
Well, yeah.
So
Now I'm going back. Not just the Fort. We're not just talking about the Fort Knox issue here. We're talking about missing classes, missing practices, all these things. Is she sabotaging herself, not just subconsciously, but consciously, because she's trying to get away from Billy Roush? If Bill Roush is not the good guy here, because we don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy.
yeah. So that's a good point. I like it.
Okay, so that's pretty much what Julie said about West Point. She also did say that Maura was not necessarily having a bad time. She had friends. It wasn't like she was down and out and wanted. Like, it seems like she was enjoying part of it, so she wasn't just completely mentally checked out. And Julie Murray's pretty candid, so that might be perfectly true. So it might have not been a simple issue. It might have either just been Bill Roush, or it might have been one other individual that was causing issues for her there. And then she just slowly decided it wasn't worth it, either because of the individual or not because of that individual. We don't know. All right. The other thing that Julie Murray said is that people have told Julie Murray that credit card that number was being used by multiple people. So this corroborates the idea that it might have been a pass around credit card, which is not uncommon, especially at that time. If someone said it was okay to use the card, just to order pizza, just order some food here and there for non-rich college students. Did someone want to just sabotage Maura through either some kind of petty issue, or how people are? Someone was jealous of her for whatever reason or wanted to cause an issue, and she reported Maura for using the card, even though it was a common use card and there was general permission, even if it wasn't explicit. I've also theorized that Maura might have taken the fall for someone in the use of that card, or if someone else used the number, maybe Maura signed for the pizza or whatnot. Was she the one that made the order? And then, of course, we need to revisit the entire pizza place scenario that Maura's calling after hours to talk to someone there. And that's obviously bizarre as well. That needs its own episode as well. The loose ends are just so monumental in this case and numerous, just absolutely numerous. So, what do you make of all that so far, Maxwell?
I don't know.
Well, good thing you're doing a podcast.
It sounds good.
Well, okay, let me sum it up. So, Julie Murray has verified that Maura did indeed have $4 worth of makeup in her pocket that she walked out of the commissionary store with without paying. She either forgot, got distracted, or intentionally did it. We don't know. So, but the credit card situation really does seem more ambiguous, which I've been saying forever. And even with the whole thing doesn't make any sense. They're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a sting operation for less than less than $80 worth of pizza on a credit card. It doesn't make any sense. And the way they conducted that investigation doesn't make any sense. So that whole scenario, we're not going to get into that now because, again, topic for another podcast. But these are things that other people just don't want to talk about, but none of them add up. So the credit card situation is definitely shady, and Julie Murray has said that other people have told her that Maura Murray was not the only one using the credit card to order pizza. What do you make of that information, Maxwell?
Well, that's good information that other people are using a credit card, so it's not like just her.
So it doesn't seem like she just stole it to use it for her own purpose, because some people were making that out to be the case, which is kind of messed up because we don't know the details of that.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's continue here. Julie Murray also dropped information I have not heard elsewhere. And this is going to tie into a major narrative steer. The narrative steers avoid this like the plague. And that is the possibility that Maura Murray never left Massachusetts and that she was set up and people made it look like she was going up to New Hampshire to cover their tracks. If that's the case, let's look at this statement made. Julie Murray said that Maura Murray had a tutoring appointment that she didn't show up to. And we don't know if that appointment was canceled. Apparently it wasn't canceled. She just simply didn't show up. And the exact date, she either said it was unknown or she couldn't remember, but it was that week. Now, here's the thing. She sent out the emails for the family emergency, and we're going to get into issues with those as well. But again, those are intricate. We're not going to get into them here. But if someone was making it look like Maura Murray was leaving, they wouldn't know about this appointment, so they wouldn't know to cover this base. What do you make of that information, Maxwell?
They're not gonna cover the base?
This is rough, Maxwell. You got to pay attention. Do you understand the context of what I just said? If Maura Murray was being set up and people were using her computer to, like, for example, search directions of where she would go, if people are sending an email stating that there's a family emergency and Maura Murray won't be in classes or whatnot, are you not following? Do you not remember the one of the major points of the case? Maura Murray, you didn't know that Maura Murray informed professors that she was not going to be at school that week.
Yeah, about a family accident or family emergency.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. If someone used her computer to send that email, and it wasn't her who sent it, because someone was setting it up to make it look like she was leaving. Are you not?
Yeah. I remember this theory.
I've mentioned this theory in almost every single episode, Maxwell. Where have you been? Where this is episode 46.
So what about that theory?
If this is true, would they know about a random tutoring appointment that Maura Murray had? Because this wouldn't necessarily be a usual thing. Because Maura usually works She usually has classes people know about.
Are you saying they overlooked this particular
Not
event?
overlooked, but they wouldn't have known about it in the first place. So they wouldn't have known to cancel the tutoring appointment.
Right. So that gives more credence to the theory that someone else got into her computer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, possibly. Or she just forgot to cancel the tutoring appointment. We don't know. I'm just saying, do you find that interesting that she simply didn't show up to something, a tutoring appointment, something that wouldn't necessarily be known by random people that were trying to cover their tracks and make it look like she was leaving?
I see. But also, I guess I see what you mean. Because, like, I mean, if it was really her that said that or lied or whatever, because it was a lie, right? There was no family emergency,
None
right?
that people know about.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there was. Julie
Oh,
Murray did. I mean, did you not listen to the interview? She said that
no, I missed the whole
Cat.
interview.
So Julie Murray, she avoided talking about the call to the security desk line. Either she's keeping that close to the vest for other purposes, or I don't know, maybe she really thinks everybody was talking about the call to her cell phone, even though the timelines don't match up. If you haven't checked out our silent UMass episodes, part 1, part 2, part 3, check those out. We go deep into all the information available about the phone, the security desk line that matches the original timeline reported closer to the time of her disappearance, unlike the rewritten narratives that are peddled now, which may or may not be true. I'm not saying they're not true, but we don't know. They're just different than the original reported information. So Julie Murray corroborated this information that has been known for some time, is that Kathleen Murray had gotten out of rehab and there was an issue with her husband, Tim Carpenter, which we've gone over many times. And so it was very upsetting that he was taken to a liquor store, like all these things were going on. Is that the conversation they had? Because Kathleen, there's issues with her memory. And is that the family emergency that Kathleen got out of rehab and then she's relapsing or having alcohol issues? Is that the family emergency? So that's a theoretical possibility for family emergency. Apparently, that's the only thing that has been revealed. So there's nothing else except maybe that. Does that answer your question, Maxwell?
Yeah.
But she did not show up to this tutoring appointment. Okay, let's go over one more thing at UMass. Julie also said that Fred and Maura found 2 vehicles they were interested in buying that Saturday. So Julie Murray is reaffirming the theory that they were indeed car shopping, even though I don't believe they found anybody has definitively corroborated that they were car shopping. But the vehicle was $4,000 at a car dealer. This is the same dealership where Billy Rouse just happened to buy a vehicle. Do you find that strange that a boyfriend, an out of state boyfriend, like how often, we need to do a poll out there. Let's do a poll. Missing persons, non missing persons, doesn't matter. How often does someone's boyfriend from out of state buy a vehicle out of the state that he goes to school in, out of the state where he and his family live? Like, how many boyfriends have bought vehicles from dealerships next to where their out of state girlfriend goes to school? I want the statistics, Maxwell, because you probably don't find this strange either, because you don't find anything strange about anything ever. You're like the most diehard coincidence theorist. But Maxwell, come on, what do you got here?
Maybe he was visiting a friend and he happened to run by a dealership and it was on the way, so he decided to go in there.
And buy a vehicle.
Yeah, why?
Wait, who's talking about visiting a friend? I mean, he's obviously going to be visiting Maura. She's the one that goes to school there. Like, why are you talking about a friend?
Hey, where is he coming from? Depends if he's coming from out of state, maybe he just bought it out of state
All right.
before going into the
Okay.
state.
Okay, so you don't. Okay, I keep forgetting you don't know the basic facts of the case, despite being one of the foremost experts and podcasters. Okay, Billy Roush, he's from Ohio, and his family lives in Ohio. He went to school in West Point, New York State, and then he's stationed in Oklahoma after West Point when Maura is in UMass. So Maura Murray is in UMass in Amherst, Massachusetts, Okay. And Billy Roush, who's stationed in Oklahoma, and he's from Ohio. He bought a vehicle at a dealership in Amherst, Massachusetts. And you don't find that strange. Like, what did he do with the car? Did he drive it all the way to Oklahoma, where he's stationed, or did he drive it home to Ohio?
I'm trying to picture this map because I'm trying to like I
You
don't
don't know
even
where
know where these
Ohio and
states.
Oklahoma are?
I kind of know like it's Ohio somewhere in the middle, and
Yeah.
then
And Oklahoma is south of that. It's Oklahoma's
are,
north
are
of
they are they
Texas.
are they next to each other? They're bordering.
No,
And what's in between?
a bunch of states.
Okay, so like I don't know what does the pattern look like?
Well, what are you talking about patterns? Okay. So Ohio is it's in the eastern part of central the US. So we have next to Massachusetts to the west of Massachusetts is New York State, it's pretty big. Then there's Pennsylvania, pretty big. Then there's Ohio. Okay. Now, Oklahoma is actually really far southwest, hundreds and hundreds of miles southwest of Ohio. So, Oklahoma is directly over Texas, which is in the southern part, it's the bottom central part of the US. Man, Maxwell Powers doesn't know his geography.
Okay, so what's okay, go ahead.
Okay, now do you know where Massachusetts is?
Actually, don't I? Oh yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah.
so Maine is the northeasternmost state in the United States. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the most northeasternmost state. Okay, then you have New England. So you have New Hampshire right next to Maine, and Vermont to the west of it. Okay,
Yep.
south of Vermont and New Hampshire is Massachusetts. Then you have like Connecticut, New York City, New Jersey, Rhode Island. That's all that. That's all that New England air coastal area. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
then you have the gigantic state of Pennsylvania,
Yep.
which is a couple
Wait, so where did he buy a car? Where did he buy it?
for the fourth time in Amherst, Massachusetts, right next to UMass, where his girlfriend goes to school.
Oh, so that's perfect. Convenient.
But convenient how? Because Ohio is way to the southwest, and Oklahoma is even a greater distance to the southwest. That's like
Wait, he was buying the car for her, right?
no, he bought himself a car.
Oh, wait. So
No, we're
so
talking
maybe
about.
wait,
Hold on.
hold on. Maybe he flew there, and he needed a car to drive home.
Why would he drive? So he has nothing better to do to spend countless hours driving?
Well, he might needed a new car and might as well buy something.
Might as well buy it there where he'd have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars and
Yeah, because
countless hours of
instead
gas
of
money
instead of doubling with a flight ticket and plus a car, he just bought a car and
and wasted
drive
all
it
that
home.
gas and wasted all that time and gas to drive. I mean, that's why I said,
Yeah, it's not bad. Some people like to drive.
well, I would like the statistics on that. That's why I asked. By the way, you
Some
didn't
people
trail.
like to drive, like they call it road trips and shit.
So you think Billy Roush had nothing better to do than to take a road trip by himself?
Some people like nature, man, or like that long highway hypnosis drives and
But how
shit.
do you know that that's Billy Roush? Because there's no indication that that's what he likes. Why would you just assume that he likes?
just guessing. Some people
But
like
why
that
would
shit.
yeah? But why would you guess without any information? That's why I'm saying. How do you know anybody personally? An out of state
No, but
boyfriend.
I know myself personally. I kind of like that shit. Like, did you ever take like a
All right,
Greyhound bus?
Maxwell,
Nature.
Max, get under control. You're turning into JR here. We're not talking. So, did you ever buy a car in your? If you're an out-of-state boyfriend, you bought a car where you're in a city where your girlfriend goes to school. If you're like 10 states away, if you're half the country away in Oklahoma, you're gonna buy a car where your girlfriend goes to school,
Yeah, I would.
and you have done that.
I have not, but I would.
And that's what I'm asking. We need a poll. How many people have done that? I would bet, just as a random guess, because personally, I've never known anybody who bought a car, an out-of-state boyfriend or girlfriend who bought a car next to where their boyfriend or girlfriend went to school if they live hundreds and hundreds of miles away or they're stationed 1,000 miles away or whatnot. How does that make any logical sense? It's kind of weird.
It's transportation. They didn't have Uber back then.
So you think? What do you mean transportation? So you think it's cheaper to buy a car and spend all that gas money instead of a cheap airplane ticket?
Well, it's probably just to get around the place. I mean, if they're hanging out, like they want to get to the
So
restaurant.
you think it's better? So you think he bought a car instead of renting a car for cheap? They did have Hertz rental in 2004, Maxwell, or 2003 when he bought
Think
the car.
that it adds up. I mean, if it's gonna be like it
So he's
adds
got
up.
so he's got nothing better to do than to add up even more on top of that. Because when you buy a car, you still have to pay for gas. When you buy a rental, it usually has some gas in there. So if it's local, like it just doesn't. I mean, Maxwell, you're really grasping at straws here. I don't
Wait,
know what.
what's your point with this anyway? So who cares? Like, let's say he bought a car. So now what?
Apparently he did. I'm saying I find that strange, and you don't find it strange because you don't find anything
So
strange,
so
and
wait
you.
so okay, wait, who cares? So now it's strange. So like, do you have a theory behind the strangest? Like, is there a purpose
No,
for that?
no, that's why we're doing a podcast.
Wait, that's it. So you just find it strange. That's it. That's like,
Well,
oh,
you don't
how
find any.
strange.
Okay, so you don't find anything strange. You don't find strange at the McDonald's. So if someone goes missing,
So
the
I'm just saying, like, I get that you find it strange now. So what? Like, now it's strange. So what?
well, that's what we're discussing.
Okay, so I don't kind of find it strange. You find like I find it strange like from 0 to 10. I find it strange at 1. You find it strange at 11. So what?
I didn't say I found it strange at 11, but it's definitely not a 1 because again, to be a 1, that would mean people do it all the time. To be a 1. Like, do you find Bill Roush making 80 phone calls right before she disappeared? Do you find that strange? You probably don't find it strange, even if he doesn't normally make that volume of calls, because you don't find anything strange about anything. So
Yeah, but
you,
I didn't wait. Hold on. Why? I don't know why you're saying that because I didn't say that in
I
the
know,
podcast.
I'm making a parallel on your inconsistency and your illogicality.
But I, I don't know. I just like you buy a car. Who cares? Like you buy a car out of state and wait. Like, do you have information on what he did with the car? Because
There's no
if he left,
information. There's no information other than what I've provided. But Julie Murray has said that also. That's the whole point here. She's
oh
saying
damn, she found it strange.
she didn't say that she found it strange. She said that because it couldn't be verified that Bill Roush bought the. I don't know where that information came from that he bought a car there, but Julie Murray has said it again. So Julie Murray said that Bill Roush bought a vehicle there. He just happened to buy a vehicle from the same dealer that Fred and Maura were looking to purchase a vehicle from. So I guess he recommended the dealership. You don't find it strange at all, but you didn't find the McDonald's coming out from West Point just leaving their jobs. Like these people have to work. They just left their jobs randomly for a road trip for a DUI walk away.
Okay, so where do we go from here? It's a strange thing that she bought a car.
Well, do you think, I guess you don't find it strange, so you don't think it warrants further investigation. I'm saying we need more information about this because that just seems strange to me. Now, you don't know what's related or what's not. When you find something out of the ordinary, like for example, if they said that her UMass friend had purchased a vehicle there, I wouldn't find that strange. Because if a UMass student needs to buy a car to get around at UMass or in that area, and they need a car and they can afford one and they go buy a car and they recommend it to their friend, personally, I wouldn't find that strange because it happens all the time. And I wouldn't necessarily now if you're going to be a super thorough investigator, you might still track that down. You might find the friend, the car, the recommendation to the dealer, but in general, that wouldn't jump out as a red flag to me. For some reason your working memory is so deficient, I guess you can't compare that. This is something I've never heard of this happening before, that an out of state boyfriend, he lives out of state, his family lives out of state, he works out of state, like not right next, not a bordering state, several states over or even farther in the case of Oklahoma. We're talking over 1,000 miles away. You're going to buy a car. It's expensive to buy a car unless he shipped it. Now, if he was a car collector and there was a dealership with that's not what we're talking about here. If we were, then that would be a lot less strange because if you're looking at a rare car and you're getting it shipped, you're not going to drive it back.
So do we have information that what kind of car it was or no?
No, but I'm guessing it was a regular car from everything we have here, from all accounts.
So
Anyway,
so you're making guesses too. There's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't formally make the guess, but I'm saying I don't think we're talking about you're right. I'm guessing it wasn't a rare Ferrari. Like, do you find something wrong with my guess?
No, it's
Maybe.
nothing wrong with it, but it's the same thing. Like with like, I don't think my guess that he bought a car so he can, maybe he liked it and you know he wants to drive it home. Nothing wrong with that. Or he bought a car so they can have a car whenever he visits.
But
Or
that,
he bought the car for her. I don't know. I
but he
really don't
didn't.
know.
But we know that he didn't buy the car for her because she only had Fred's Saturn. So we know that's not true, unless you're saying there was a secret car that nobody knew about and that was hidden somewhere. I mean, you're equating our guesses. It's kind of funny.
Oh, yes. So maybe like he's making a gift, like a secret gift or some shit.
Well, supposedly he bought a car there a year prior. So how was it a secret? So he just because he never told anybody about it. I mean, I don't understand.
Damn, a year prior to her disappearance.
Something like that. Yeah, he bought a car. He bought a vehicle there at some point earlier. It wasn't.
Oh,
It wasn't a
but
week
I'm
before.
sure, like, was he using it during like those visits? I'm sure he visited her a few times.
You're sure he visited her? I mean, I think he
No,
visited
I'm
once or
not, but I'm just.
no. I think he did visit once or twice. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed, but he didn't visit frequently. No, because she was with his family over the break and all these other times. So it was not a frequent. He didn't frequently visit. There's no information on what he did with the car. It's weird. I
Okay.
wonder. I don't know if you're just like that contrarian. I wonder what would have happened if I didn't find it strange. Would you have gone off on the tangent that I went off on if I said it wasn't strange? Would you have been like, "Oh, what do you mean it's not strange?" and just said the complete opposite of everything I say? Maxwell Powers,
Well,
contrarian extraordinaire.
because I wasn't I wasn't listening. So like, and then you said, oh, he bought a car. So I'm like, okay, what's wrong with that? Buying a car. And then
No,
you
I
said,
specifically stated about his that he was an out of state boyfriend. I specifically stated where he lived and his family lived, and I specifically stated
but
where.
by the way, I don't understand um, wait, so it was like the long distance relationship, right? They had,
Yes, at that point.
and how long was the long distance relationship been going on? I don't know. It might be. I mean, I don't remember. So
So this was her second year at UMass, but she was still a junior. And Billy Roush was 2 years older than her. I always go find all the information you want, and then you end up not saying anything about it afterwards. So I don't know what the point is, but let's go through it again.
well, because if the long distance relationship has been going on for like 2 3 years, buying a car for the place that he always visits
What do you mean
would
he's
be.
only been there if he only visits a couple times, why would he buy a car? So you're saying he had a car and he had paid and he's paying to keep it parked somewhere and nobody ever knew about it? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, he could have, like, I'm sure well, like, I don't know. Wait, no one knew about it? About the car? I thought Julie knew about it. Or,
Julie's saying he purchased the car. That's the only information we have. We do not know that the how many times Billy Roush visited, but he's in the military. Okay, he's stationed in Oklahoma. He can't just leave whenever he wants. He can't just go to UMass every weekend.
all right. I think we should move on from this car. I mean, we don't have that much information anyway, so
So why are you making all these weird guesses?
I don't know, because you find it strange that I don't find it strange.
Well, you find it strange that I find it strange. That's why I said we
I
need to go
don't
home.
think I find it strange that you find it strange. I just think, I just don't find it strange that he bought a car.
That I don't find it strange that he bought a car either. I find it strange that an out of state boyfriend who lives out of state, whose family lives out of state, and who's stationed 1,000 miles away in the military bought a car next to where his girlfriend goes to school. It's not strange to buy a car. People buy a car all the time. How many people buy a car next to where their out of state girlfriend goes to school if they're not there every weekend or every other weekend? That's what I found strange.
So I guess if he's not visiting that much, then it's strange.
Oh, so you do think it's strange because you assumed he was visiting often, even though that was never stated?
Yeah, I assume that he's visiting often because I found I mean, because I don't remember, but I thought they were always they were a lot together. That's what I thought, but I guess not.
I mean, they were together for the holidays, I believe, and then possibly the summer before. So that's I don't know how many other instances. He must have visited at least once because he bought a car there, if that car story is true. I guess this is what I'm alleging. Do we know if that car purchase story is even true? Or did someone tell Julie that was true and she assumed it was true?
Okay.
Oh, man. You need a bigger army, Maxwell.
Yeah,
It's getting
that
rough.
was like 15, 20 minutes, man.
Well, you got to pay attention because you didn't, like, I explicitly stated why it was strange in the beginning. Why do you think I would be talking about if he visited there all the time and he needed a car to get around there and he didn't live that far away? I mean, that would all make sense. So why would you think I find things strange that aren't strange? I mean, what do you think I would have found
I
it
I
strange if he visited all the time? If he was there like every weekend and he needed a car to get around and he didn't live that far away, do you think I would find it strange that he bought a car there and I would have made that a big point?
I don't know, but I I I don't know, because I would buy a car out of state and drive it home. I'll drive it from fucking San Francisco to fucking New York.
Yeah, but you're not stationed in the military. So, okay, you think he has nothing better to do than to buy a car, spend all this money on time and money on gas, and then the next time he wants to come visit, he's going to drive out there instead of fly. That's what you think.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a good point
So
here, though, Maxwell. I'm actually glad we went into that spiel and you can't remember anything because this is a very interesting point. We know that's not the case because Maura Murray was driving Bill Roush to the airport in August when she got that speeding ticket. So we know Billy Roush didn't drive out there. We know that Maura Murray's driving him to the airport and returning from that to go to the White Mountains because that's when she got the speeding ticket in
so
August.
that would be interesting if the whole thing was true, that he bought a car and stuff. So it's not verified, right?
Well, yeah, very little is verified, but again, so just because you would buy a car and drive it across the country, that doesn't mean other people who respect their time and money would do that. Because if Billy Roush has to be on base at this time and he
Yeah, I
wants
don't expect people to do what I do.
Yeah, I know, but we're not talking about you. We're talking about Bill Roush. We're talking about someone who's stationed in the military, who doesn't. If he wants to spend time with his girlfriend instead of spending days and days on the road, he would probably fly out, especially if he respects time and gas money and all those things.
Yeah, it's fine.
Nobody's talking about you, Maxwell. We're talking about regular people.
Yeah, no.
If he's stationed in the military in Oklahoma, why would he buy a car to drive back and forth every time he wants to visit his girlfriend in Massachusetts? Like you think that
I think you made your point. I get your point that you find it strange that I find it strange, or I don't find it strange. That's cool.
so you think it's not strange for someone to buy a car
No,
that they're not informed
well,
about?
now that I have more information, like, like
Well, this
he's
information, I stated this information in the first sentence of saying that.
yeah, but I didn't like. Yeah, I was thinking differently. I thought, like, he was visited frequently. They were together a lot. Those were my assumptions before, like, all the
Well,
information.
I'm not even saying you're necessarily wrong if he stashed that car somewhere and he used that car to get around with Maura. But here's the thing: where are they going around? Because if she's driving her father's car all the time, Maura's driving her father's car even to take Billy Roush to the airport. So when are they using the car that Billy Roush bought?
So
If
it's
he
most it's almost more possible that he didn't actually buy a car because of her driving.
or he bought the car, drove it to Ohio once, and that's it. And either he got a good deal on it or whatever. It just seems kind of strange though. Like how much better of a deal could he have gotten to cover the gas money and the nuisance of driving it from
Gotcha,
Massachusetts to
gotcha.
Ohio?
So can we go to another mind
Yeah.
shocking topic?
I
Damn.
think I think the reason the listeners listen is because of you, Maxwell, and your Maxwell Army moments. All right, let's go move on from that. Okay, so Fred Murray's $4,000, of course. So if they needed 6,000 for the car and they needed two more thousand, so he could have probably withdrawn the 2,000 in Amherst on Sunday and bought the car there instead of planning to go the next weekend. Or he could have put the 2,000 on a credit card or a check. So that doesn't make sense why Fred Murray would be driving up and down to Amherst every weekend just to bring 2,000 in cash. Because again, how much is the gas money? And so then we have the issue with the value of the Saturn. So Fred Murray just wanted to scrap it, but apparently Maura was more frugal and they could have sold it. I don't know exactly what they were doing. These details are all kind of up to debate. So, and then of course the Hadley accident, which we talk about all the time. So Julie Murray kind of wrote off people being drunk and drinking and driving as semi-normal on Saturday night in UMass or ZooMass, which I'm sure ZooMass had its issues back then and today maybe. So she totaled the car. Yeah, it is kind of weird because even though her license was suspended in New Hampshire, if that's the case, because if it was never reinstated, yeah. So that doesn't make a lot of sense either. So here's a comment from a very astute Redditor who, of course, made these points and many others. He also said this: I'm oddly looking forward to part 2, where they will surely ask Julie what she thinks of Billy Roush organizing an entire posse to travel halfway across the country one day after the car was found locked on the side of the road. And surely they'll ask her what she thinks of Kate, Sarah, and their uncooperativeness with law enforcement. They're never volunteering a single day to look for Maura, never volunteering any time or information to the public that might help raise attention to the situation, things normal people might find odd. But here on Reddit, hundreds of 6-day-old accounts argue is all completely normal, followed closely by the usual cadre of more senior accounts who habitually suspend logic when posting. Also, the other thing, so apparently Maura fell asleep in the lobby of the hotel after the Hadley accident before going to her father's room, and it says the Hadley accident report shows that the scene was cleared at 4:29 a.m. So Maura Murray was headed back in the tow truck to the Quality Inn, and 4:38 a.m. Billy Roush gets the incoming call from Maura, who was using her father's cell phone. It's kind of weird. But you don't think anything's weird.
What was weird?
I'm not falling for that one, Maxwell. Because here's the thing, though. Julie Murray herself was about to be deployed to the Middle East when she found out her sister was missing. So she said that Fred Murray told her not to get emergency leave until he went to New Hampshire to figure out what was going on. So how interesting is that Billy Roush already got emergency leave and was in New Hampshire with his parents and the McDonald's, possibly whenever they arrived, that Wednesday night, and Fred Murray himself is telling Julie Murray not to get emergency leave because, it was just a walkaway DUI. They just found the vehicle. Nobody knows what's going on. So I'll read another post from an astute Redditor. Think about it. This was smack dab in the middle of the Iraq War, and a long-distance boyfriend gets emergency leave from his base in Oklahoma because his girlfriend might have abandoned some junk car on the side of the road. And to boot, he gets a West Point professor to join him. Something is not right here. But you don't find any of that strange, right, Maxwell?
I missed what you said, sir.
What a shocker.
Are you still going through Julie's interview?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I should listen to that.
Okay. How hard is this, Maxwell? Fred told Julie not to
wait. Before you go on, what was your overall take on the Julie's interview? Overall, I don't know, overall feel for the whole interview.
Regarding what? I mean, she's trying to raise awareness for her sister's disappearance. I mean,
I only got to listen to 15 minutes in, so I don't know.
Other than these tidbits we're going over, it was kind of generic. So for someone who's very familiar with the case, other than these tidbits, it was generic. But I mean, I don't know what you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
You don't even know the basics of the case, so you probably would get a lot out of it.
No, I thought I was thinking maybe you could come up with she sounded kind of very supportive or knew her really well. I don't know. It's just
Wait,
or maybe
you're saying Julie Murray should have sounded like she knew her sister really well? She did sound like that. I'm not. What are you talking about, Max?
um, or I don't know. I don't know what I was looking for.
She did.
But
She knew her sister.
I wasn't looking for like anything specific. I just wanted to see like what your impression was of the whole interview.
Like I
I mean,
said,
was the interviewer any good? I mean, like,
well, I just said the interview was kind of generic, but Julie Murray's trying to raise awareness for her missing sister. So in that regard, it was a good interview. She
cool.
didn't come up with with a ton of mind shocks, although these little tidbits were interesting, which is why we're going over them.
All right, cool.
Anyway, I'll say this again. Julie Murray's also in the military. Did you not know that, Maxwell?
No, I didn't.
Did you know that Julie Murray also went to West Point? Billy Roush was one of
Oh
her
yeah,
classmates.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. So so Julie Murray is getting ready to be deployed to the Middle East. Do you know who Fred Murray is, Maxwell?
Yeah.
So Fred Murray is telling Julie Murray to hold off on getting emergency leave until he goes up to New Hampshire to figure out what's going on.
Figure out what's going on with what?
Maura Murray, because they were informed of her disappearance.
Oh, okay. So it's like recent.
Yes, this is the week
Okay, got it.
the disappearance. So he's telling Julie Murray not to get emergency leave yet. However, Billy Roush already got emergency leave, and his parents are making however many, what is it, an 11-hour drive from Ohio in the middle of winter. He's flying across the country. Let me read this again. It looks like Billy must have bypassed that recommendation. So the recommendation they're talking about here is Fred Murray recommending that Julie not get emergency leave and rush up there for what's just an abandoned junk car. Because what if Maura's perfectly fine chilling at a party somewhere and she forgot, or, whatever. She took a mental health day. They don't know the situation. So why, there's just an abandoned car. It might be a DUI walkaway. So he's telling Julie Murray not to get emergency leave. However, here's the comment I was reading. It looks like Billy Roush must have bypassed that recommendation. He only flew across the country and had his parents make an 11-hour drive from Ohio in the middle of winter. Nothing strange about that. I'm sure that call Monday night with McDonald was just a coincidence, seeing how a few days later he got out of teaching to help out in New Hampshire. So he's making a 30-minute call to his mentor, Bob McDonald, at the exact same time when the alleged accident in New Hampshire is taking place. And then the West Point professor, Bob McDonald, and his wife, who's also a teacher, just decide to go to New Hampshire. Meanwhile, Fred Murray is telling his own daughter, the sister of Maura Murray, not to get emergency leave to go to New Hampshire because he needs to see what's going on first, because she might have just abandoned the car or whatever, or it broke down and she went somewhere else and she's hanging out at a hotel for a couple. I mean, he doesn't know the situation, so he's telling Julie Murray not to get emergency leave. Do you find any of that strange, or are you just simply not able to follow anything, Maxwell?
No, I find that strange.
Oh wow, you found something strange.
Hey, that's crazy, man. Like he was he got everyone, he got the whole posse to go over there, and then Julie's not even like Fred is not even alarmed or panicking. Not panicking. Alarmed but not panicking.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Because once again, if this is all related to the Vassy hit and run, and again, if you haven't listened to our episodes on the hit and run, check those out. We go over all the strange connections and all of these things that don't make any sense at all. Okay, the only other thing I want to talk about is the new revelations per se about the speeding ticket. We went over this on the previous podcast, but some people believe that this is a spun narrative and there's issues with it. So, for example, if she was at the Liquors 44 in Hadley, Massachusetts at 3:45 p.m., even though, once again, that's security footage that has never been released, I guess you don't find that strange. But here's the thing: if she's going to New Hampshire to pay off that to pay that reinstatement fee, which has to be paid in person, why is she waiting so long in the day to do so, because if it closes at 5 p.m. at the DMV, what time does the DMV close in 2004? She's going to make it up there in time. She has to go up to Concord or wherever it is to pay that fee in person. She's going to wait that long to drive there. So that this is what some people online are finding very, very strange. I find that strange as well, because if she's looking to reinstate her license, so that supposedly you're supposed to do that at the Bureau of Financial Responsibility in Concord, New Hampshire, not necessarily the jurisdiction in which the ticket was received. So that's pretty strange. So if some of the government offices apparently close at 4 p.m., not even 5 p.m. So how would she have gotten, I mean, how would she get up there in time? You don't find any of that strange, Maxwell?
I find it strange.
All right, so these are all thoughts to consider with this new narrative, and a lot of these new narratives being spun that don't make a lot of sense. So, yes, plenty more to cover, of course. And we will be getting to plenty more. Hopefully, Max will be a little bit sharper next time. We hope you enjoyed another edition of Mindshock True Crime in the Maura Murray series. If you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. If you like the podcast, hit the like button. Feel free to share it across social media platforms. Any questions, comments, theories, rebuttals of any kind, leave them in the comments section. You can check us out Twitter, Reddit, Patreon, and like and follow our Facebook page. This is Bruce McGuire signing off.
And Maxwell Powers.
We'll catch you guys next time.